On the 32nd episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast, we're going to talk about the upcoming Super Bowl with some coach signings, some MLB trades, some NBA MVP debacles. The enhanced games sound like they are coming soon, and we're going to end it off with some Hall of Fame, yay or nay. Roll it.
It's the podcast of all time.
So you guys want to talk about that? Introducing your hosts, Isaiah
and Micah, bringing you a special guest every episode. We are the HatTrick Sports Podcast.
You guys ready?
Yep.
All right. So here we have Scott. Scott, you want to kind of explain who you are?
I am a friend of Curtis Carpenter's, your dad, and we've known each other for about 7 or 8 years now, maybe more, and I've been coming to the Super Bowl every year here, the party that your family throws. It's epic, so there's no place I'd rather be on Super Bowl Sunday, and that's how I know you two guys.
Yep, there we go. So, Scott is a traditional figure in our Super Bowl party. I couldn't figure out the right word for that, so that's what I said.
Yeah, that sounds good.
But, so the reason why we kind of brought you on today is because we are, of the time of this recording, a week away from the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Getting excited?
I am excited and honored to be your choice as guest, as my team pretty much blew the NFC Championship game, up 17 points with less than a quarter and a half to go, and succumb to the great Brock Purdy, and we'll see what happens next year.
I guess so. So as you guys see, there's a Lions helmet right there. That is not mine or Micah's or anybody in our families. Scott decided to bring that as a prop to kind of showcase his commitment to the team.
Yes, sir.
And that's what's important. You're still committed to the team. You're not like, oh, I hate the Lions now. Like, you still like them. You're still wearing the hoodie.
These are the best of times, I assure you.
Yeah.
They're
For Lions fans, at least.
better times to come. A dynasty in the making.
So what we kind of want to talk about, and we were talking about off camera, is what are your thoughts on Dan Campbell's risk-taking factors in the championship game a couple weeks ago?
Well, it's easy to single one guy out for his decision-making, but you got to remember that one guy who says, let's go for it, is not the guy executing on the field. San Francisco made a great defensive play to rush Goff and throw him off, and Goff is not the best at improvisation. He's great at executing a game plan, but when it comes down to making the plays, he's not Brock Purdy, he's not Mahomes. And it's easy to blame one guy, but we got to remember that the no guts, no glory mentality is what got Detroit into the NFC title game. So I have absolutely no problem with Dan Campbell going for it, and if you did it again, I'd have no problem with it. I think one of their fears is missing a kick and leaving San Francisco in position right in the middle of the field with a wide open playbook right in the middle of the field to march down and score again. So it was really a momentum factor and a lack of trust in the kicker.
Well said. I could not have said that better. And
it's not Dan Campbell who's not getting it done on first, second, and third down.
So. No, it's not. He's making decisions, but he's trusting in his players, and they didn't get it done.
Yeah. All right, so let's start off with Micah's Steelers have hired Arthur Smith for their new offensive coordinator. He was the head coach of the Falcons for the last 3 years. Micah, you kind of want to talk about your new offensive coordinator?
I never thought we'd get someone worse than Matt Canada, but it might happen. Arthur Smith might be worse than Matt Canada. And I wish I was joking when I said that. People act like he's an amazing OC because they were when he was on the Titans, they were the top running offense in the league. But people forget that he had Derrick Henry. Any guy at the OC on the Titans would have the number one rushing team. So I just hope he doesn't screw us over and start Darnell Washington over Pat Freiermuth.
So this is why I brought this up today. is because Micah, for, I don't know, a few episodes, we've only had 32 episodes. For a few of those, Micah was like, Matt Canada's the worst OC. I would rather have anything else. I'd rather have Bob the Builder as the offensive coordinator, whatever. And now he understands that Matt Canada, I'm not saying he was good, but he's not as bad as Micah put him to be.
As I put him to be, or as everyone put him to be?
You.
I'd put him as bad as everyone else said he was. We were the worst rushing offense, passing offense, anything offensive-wise, we were dead last. And you're telling me that's not god-awful?
But there's worse.
No, there's not.
Arthur Smith.
There literally is not worse.
Arthur Smith.
32nd in everything. How is anything worse?
Who do you think's a better offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith or Matt Canada?
We'll have to see. I don't know. I'm assuming that Arthur Smith's always going to be a little bit better, but Matt Canada was 32nd in everything.
What are your thoughts on the Scott?
I think we need to go back to the players on the field and think about who did Matt Canada have as quarterback. He had a rookie. Am I correct?
Yeah, but last season he was in his sophomore year.
That's not so easy to maintain. I mean, it's amazing that the Steelers had an above 500 record and have yet to go below 500 the past 5 seasons with the youth that they've had behind the helm after Roethlisberger retired. And, you know, not even Mitchell Trubisky is going to be able to bring them up to that level that they're going to compete in the playoffs. So it's tough to judge offensive coordinators when the players themselves are not elite.
Well, the difference in the offense when Matt Canada left versus when he was there was, even with Mitchell Trubisky, it drastically improved. And that's saying something when you have a guy that almost threw 3 picks in 1 quarter.
Yeah. So the Steelers get a new OC. Anything else happened with the Steelers? I don't think anything.
No, last year we re-signed our defensive coordinator. Said I wasn't a huge fan of it.
Mike's not a huge fan of many Steelers things, but is a big Steelers fan.
Well, just the coordinators that we have.
All right. So Ryan Jensen, a center for
The Bucks.
the Bucks and Ravens in his career, retires after 9 years due to knee injury. It's unfortunate to see that people have to retire, and I know this is kind of the reason why Jason Kelce retired and stuff, but because of injuries. Now, I'm not saying he would have been good playing more years, but
I mean, Ryan Jensen was one of the best centers for the past 5 seasons.
I know, but it's unfortunate to see that he has to retire due to injuries and uncomfortment to play.
Yeah,
but,
that's like Andrew Luck, though.
Yeah, and that's why these guys are getting paid big bucks, is because they're putting their body at risk and life on the line pretty much to play these positions for our entertainment.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate to see, but he's done.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this, Scott?
Well, he's got a Super Bowl ring, so
He does.
I don't think that he's going to retire with any regrets whatsoever.
No.
10 years is a very long time to play at that level of a very violent football game. So he's got no regrets.
Yeah, no, he definitely, I think what you need to retire, like, I know this is not going to happen, but like if I was a professional sports player, is a Super Bowl ring.
On your own terms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you get to play with the GOAT.
Yeah, and you got to play with Brady for a couple seasons.
Yeah.
So yeah, happy retiree, Jensen. I don't know how to say
Retirement.
Happy retirement.
Yeah, retirement.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had a Super Bowl, Pro Bowl. He played exactly 100 games,
Wow.
and yeah, played for the Ravens Bucks.
100 games.
Exactly 100.
Wow, that's incredible.
And 16 games a season at the beginning of his career. Now it's 17.
Yeah.
So I mean, he played a healthy amount.
Yeah.
But Stephon Diggs doesn't know what the future holds for him.
I love that because if Stephon's gone, then the Bills will not go to the Super Bowl next season. Do you still think the Bills go to the Super Bowl if Diggs leaves?
I don't know.
They got 2 really good tight ends.
Yeah.
They've got a great running game. They've got a top 3 quarterback. And they've got a really good defense.
But you got to feed him with receivers, and Gabe Davis, who was injured for a while, isn't going to help it.
Gabe Davis is going to become their lead receiver if Diggs is gone, outside of Kincaid and the other tight end. But, you know, the draft stock of wide receivers this year, as it's been in the past 5 years is rich, and these guys come in and they're plug and play, and I think you'll see that they'll find someone that fits their exact needs. A deep threat, a possession guy, who knows? Or maybe they sign a veteran, but they're not going to go through the off season without replacing Diggs, and I think that's going to happen.
I say you got to draft a receiver just in case Diggs does leave.
You definitely draft one, but I think they're going to get one in the free agent market because they're a contender, and that's where people want to play with contenders.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting because he still obviously has a career for him. It's looking really good for him. And I think most teams would love to have him. He just doesn't know where he wants to go.
Yeah. I don't know if I would love to have him on the Steelers, though. If you have a relatively young team and then you mix Diggs with Pickens, I just don't know how well of a combo it's going to make.
Yeah.
Well, you have to look at the attitude of the player and their
Exactly.
track record. And if he's bringing bad mojo into your locker room, you're not going to want him. I guarantee the Detroit Lions don't want a player like that because their chemistry is set. Whoever they bring in is going to be someone that they can mold to their image, not someone bringing in an image of their own.
Yeah.
Clubhouse guys are the best guys.
Clubhouse guys.
I mean, if you're not Tom Brady, the clubhouse guys are the best guys.
It's like the old 49er way before your time. They had a set mold, and guys came in and they were interviewed, and if they didn't fit the mold, they didn't play for the 49ers. Well, now the Lions are doing the same thing. The Patriots did the same thing. The Chiefs do the same thing. You're just not going to play there if you don't fit the mold.
Yeah, if you drag everybody down, then there's no point. Even if you're, I'm not going to say that, but if you're like a 4 out of 5 but have a horrible chemistry with the team, you're dragging everybody else down, even though you're still a 4 out of 5. That just doesn't equal out.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, Dan Quinn, new Commanders head coach. He was the former Cowboys defensive coordinators. I like seeing this offseason that a lot of these offensive and defensive coaches and coordinators are getting head coaching jobs.
One thing I was extremely surprised about is Eric Bieniemy didn't get a head coaching job.
Me too.
Bill Belichick, Mike Vrabel, they didn't get one either.
Well, I think Belichick's retired.
But Mike Vrabel?
Yeah,
he didn't get one? I think he's a better coach than Dan Quinn, like by far.
I think the growing trend in the NFL is to hire young coaches.
And then just use them for a while.
Well, just that are up and coming, that are kind of unproven anywhere else, just so that they can move on from them quickly, as opposed to someone that's proven and you feel a little more obligation to hang on to them, and it takes a little bit longer for them, their shelf life to end, if that makes any sense.
No, it definitely does, and I think that again, they want to sign these head coaches to. I know they're not going to, but 40-year deals. Like they want them to be franchise coaches instead of just these 2-year coaches. The players getting used to people like after every 2 years. They just want coaching, kind of like Belichick. They just want their life to the franchise to have one set head coach for a generation.
Nobody knew Belichick was going to be Belichick until Belichick happened.
But what he turned out to be, at the after fact.
And Art Modell moved the Browns to Baltimore, and they became the Ravens.
Yeah.
The Browns' last game was coached by Bill Belichick, and he was fired a few days later.
Yeah. And nobody knew who would transform Tom Brady into what he is.
You know, just think the Baltimore Ravens would have been the dynasty.
Yep, maybe.
Well, they probably are now. So,
speaking of the Bill Belichick and the Patriots the Patriots the Patriots owner, Robert Kraft, says that it was a mistake letting go of Brady and basically giving him to the Bucks.
I mean, when you give up the GOAT, yeah, you're going to regret it for a little bit. Probably forever. It's probably the worst decision he'll ever make in his life.
Well, they thought he was past his prime. That's really what Bob Kraft is saying is, I'm sorry that I thought Tom Brady was past his prime when he goes to a new team and right away takes him to the Super Bowl and wins it just because he's Tom Brady and he's got that certain thing.
The mentality that we were talking about earlier. I think that made Tom Brady go to the Super Bowl was the Patriots not re-signing him. Them like, oh, you guys don't want me, I'll show you who does. and prove to them. And maybe it was Gronk or Mike Evans or whoever else was on that team.
Well, they had a great defense.
Yeah.
They already had great wide receivers. They had a good offensive line and a relatively good running game. So it was a very attractive place for Tom Brady to go. And a good coach.
Yep.
Was a good coach. Now they have Todd Bowles, who is not a good coach.
He's I'd say he's above average.
A 3 out of 5 instead of a 2.5 out of 5.
I'm not a big fan of Todd. I'd give him like a 1.5 out of 5, something like that.
He gave the Lions a run in the playoffs, so I gotta give him props for that.
Got to give your boys a little bit of credit. The Browns bring an offensive coordinator who was their quarterback for 3 seasons, 2006 through 2008. They bring him back to be their offensive coordinator. Micah is the Steelers fan and is smiling and shaking his head yes.
All AFC North fans, except for Browns fans, love this. Mm-hmm. The only reason the Bills did as bad as they did was because of Ken Dorsey. And now I can imagine that new offense with Ken Dorsey, who just wants to throw it deep every time, when now he has Nick Chubb. And Deshaun Watson, who's not that accurate. It's going to be interesting, but I love that they did that because it makes them bad.
I don't dislike Ken Dorsey as a coordinator. He's a lot like Detroit's coordinator. However, a lot of the plays that he runs are not predicated by the run game, which is really what you saw Buffalo turn into after Dorsey was gone, as they were pounding the ball and going into play action mode from that. And Dorsey was more about running trick plays just out of nowhere, and that's got him in trouble. And maybe he's learned. Maybe in Cleveland he's got a great running game, so there's no reason they can't pound the rock and run play action out of it. Now, who's going to be the quarterback? Is it going to be Watson or is it going to be Joe Flacco?
It's got to be the guy you pay like $300 million.
It's got to be, but is he going to do it? That's the question. Is he going to remain healthy, or
he's going to play
keep
bad
Flacco around, or are they going to say goodbye to Joe Flacco?
I say you keep Flacco just as a backup, or potentially alternate Watson and Flacco, depending on how they do in practice and what the coaches think.
Well, it can't be a bad idea to have Flacco.
No.
Like Marino had Don Strock. I mean, that's before your time, but Don Strock is arguably the quintessential backup, all-time NFL backup, Don Strock. You can Google that one. But that's good to have a veteran like that, and Flacco proved himself. I mean, now Houston whipped him in the playoffs, but he certainly proved that he still has enough moxie to play this game at this level.
Houston whooped him because the secondary wasn't playing defense. It just let him get past them.
That's true. That is so true.
Another new coach, Raiders signed offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury.
He withdrawed from that, actually.
Oh.
He withdrawed from the OC job, and now he's looking at the Commanders for an OC job.
This is the first time hearing about it. Micah kind of makes the schedule for us, and we add details that we want to talk about, and I was not aware of that. But good to know.
Yeah, so he withdrawed from the OC position, and now he's trying to go to the Commanders, which I don't understand.
Well, where is Eric Bieniemy in all this?
He's still in Kansas City. He's not leaving, which I'm super surprised about.
Wow. No, I thought he was with the Commanders as OC. Didn't he leave Kansas City for the Commanders?
Maybe he did. Maybe last season he did.
And now, is he still there? Because they now have a new head coach.
I don't know.
He might be out. He may be a free agent coordinator right now.
Bieniemy is a good guy to get for anything, really.
I wonder why he left, though. I wonder why he withdrew that contract or whatever.
He maybe just didn't like the players on it or something.
Team.
Maybe because they don't have like a set QB yet. They have Aiden O'Connell.
I wonder if he's going to regret that if he doesn't get a job anywhere else.
Yeah, well, it took a one-way trip to Thailand like 2 years ago when he got cut by the Cardinals. So
we'll talk about that. But my Seahawks' favorite team in the NFL is the Seahawks, and they just signed the youngest head coach in the NFL right now, Mike Macdonald. Mike Macdonald had a farm, and he said, "We will win, we will win." And on that farm, he had Geno Smith, and he said, "We will win, we will win, we will win."
Well, with Geno Smith, you don't win, you win, you lose, lose, lose. So.
All right, so Scott, you want to talk about this a little bit. What are your thoughts?
Well, Mike McDonald comes from the Harbaugh tree.
Correct.
He
Yeah.
coached for Jim at Michigan and,
Yep.
and John at Baltimore Ravens, and so he's got that play action mentality. That Michigan and Baltimore, they hold that run first mentality and pass off of the ability to pull the linebackers in and pull the defense in, and Seattle has all the components to run that type of offense with Charbonnet and Walker, and I mean our wide receivers there, Metcalf,
Lockett and
still
Jigba.
Lockett,
Yeah.
great tight ends, and I don't know about that offensive line. It all starts there, man. If you want to run the rock and run play action, then your offensive line has got to be able to do things. And if Seattle can do that, they're going to be in it. I was surprised to see Pete Carroll move into the front office instead of coaching that team, because he's among the all-time greats.
So I'm glad you brought up the Harbaugh stuff, because I was saying for weeks that I wanted Harbaugh to go to the Seahawks. And once he signed with the Chargers, whatever, I was upset. But now seeing McDonald on the Seahawks and him being near the Harbaugh brothers, I'm excited to see what the future holds for the Seahawks. And Pete Carroll was the oldest coach in the NFL, and then we just signed the youngest coach in the NFL. And I think, like what I said earlier, I think they're hoping to have him for the next few decades potentially, and see what happens there, and hopefully win a few championships with them.
Well, here's my prediction for the Seahawks next season. You guys already have an amazing defense. I think you'll have a top 5 defense, but a bottom 5 offense, and you'll end up getting 7 wins.
You're in the toughest division in football.
Correct.
No doubt about it.
With the 49ers and Rams,
the
yeah.
Rams and
The defenses you have to face.
yeah, that's a juggernaut division, and any one of those teams could win the division, including Seattle. And it all depends on the interior, the lines. If they can put together a good offensive line and run the football, and
Which
keep
the Seahawks can't do.
offenses off the field, then they can win some games. But you know, him being a first-year coach, he may succumb to a lot of freshmen, clock management errors and all the stuff. And you got to get your team. You've got to capture your team at training camp, because if you don't, they won't play for you.
I'm just not a big fan of teams with defensive-minded head coaches, because you need offense to get points, and I get defense, whatever. But I'm more of an offensive guy. So when teams have defensive-minded head coaches, I'm not always a huge fan of that. So that's why I think the offense will struggle even more, especially if you don't draft a QB.
We'll see, though. I think he seems very happy to be with Seattle, and I'm very happy that he's with us. But we'll see. He said he doesn't want to continue the Carroll way, if that makes sense.
Defensive-minded.
Yeah, he wants to score more points, and that's what the goal of the game is. That's how you win a game, is score more points.
And he was a defensive coordinator, so I'm not a fan of him trying to go to offensive-minded.
We'll see.
Well, I wouldn't jump to generalize and say that because a coach was a coordinator on one side of the football or the other, that he doesn't know the other side of the football, because they usually know as much, and they're in that position because they know the offense. And sometimes an offensive coordinator's in the position of being an offensive coordinator because he knows defenses so well. And that's how careers go, and you can watch it through the history of the NFL. Coaches have been both, and they end up being head coaches. So don't look down on a guy because he's a defensive coordinator now, because like I said, he's from the Harbaugh tree.
Exactly.
They play down and distance football. They run the rock, and they run play action off of it, and that's gold in the NFL.
I mean, you have to work your way up to be the defensive coordinator. Which would, if it's like a high school head coach, you're still working with the offense there. If you're in college, you have to work your way up, and obviously you're going to have to face the offense at some point and coach the offense, unless you're just down to pee-wee little football being a defensive coordinator, which you're not. You just got to build your way up, and somewhere along the line you will have to be in charge of the offense or work with the offense at some point.
I just think that he's been with the best defense in the league last season, and Seattle's going to be a good one next season, but he never had to worry about the offense because he knew that they would do what they had to.
Do you have anything else for football?
I do not. When are we doing the Super Bowl prediction?
Oh, yeah, we
Yeah.
can do those now.
Okay.
Gotta do those.
So, 49ers, Chiefs in the Super Bowl 2020 matchup. Same thing. What are your thoughts on this, Scott?
I think the Super Bowl is going to be a mirror image of the NFC title game with the Lions jumped out on San Francisco early. They were up 17-0 before San Francisco could score. Well, I think the Niners are going to jump on Kansas City and establish ball control and the play action, and they're going to score twice early before Kansas City gets on the board, and Kansas City will get on the board late, and in the second half it'll be Mahomes' magic, because that's where Andy Reid and Mahomes make it happen. In the locker room, they figure things out. They come out with a twist, something up their sleeve, and I see the Chiefs winning this one. Same score as the NFC title game, 34-31.
Oh. All right, you called it. So if this ends up being the score, you could go potentially viral on ESPN Top 10.
And Mahomes will be the MVP.
Mahomes, yeah, well, that's normal for...
Mahomes and Ma'auto. For those that know who Ma'auto is, it's Taylor Swift's boyfriend.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think I kind of agree with you. The Chiefs are going to go down in the first half. Then they're going to go into the tunnel. They're halftime. They're going to get some Swifty magic, get some Andy Reid cheeseburgers in them, come back out, energized, feeling alive, and put up some points.
That's right.
Here we go.
I think Chiefs go up 13-3, and then halftime comes. They're up 20-10, and then the Niners crawl back, and the final score will be 30-34 Chiefs. So the Niners will come back close, but they won't be able to complete it.
Those are some odd numbers. 30-34.
34-30, yeah.
34-30.
That's possible.
It's possible. But we'll see. We did this last week. You know how there's always those commercials, the Super Bowl commercials?
Oh, sure.
What do you think, like last year, the Fubo, or was the Fubo commercial? I don't know if you remember. You were sitting, I'm assuming, on the couch, and everybody was screaming at you probably.
Yeah.
Sitting on the remote.
Yeah.
Jesus, Scott, always sitting on the remote.
I'm always messing things up.
This year, what do you think the most iconic commercial will be for the Super Bowl?
I like Doritos. Doritos always comes up with a good one, and Doritos, and it used to be Pepsi was the big contender, and I don't know if Pepsi's shaking it up of late, but Doritos always comes up with something crafty and funny. I like their commercials.
Good. What did I say last week?
I said Hulu.
I think I said Nike.
Yeah.
I think Nike or maybe Apple Vision Pro. Those just came out. Maybe Apple will do something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Get some marketing in there.
I don't know what interesting commercial you can get with an Apple Vision Pro, though.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll make sure to record some commercials. We're going to... I think what we'll do next week is film the podcast on Saturday.
Yeah.
And upload that, and then, of course, make content during the Super Bowl, whatever. But, yeah, I'm excited to see it. We're 7 days away. And...
The countdown begins.
Countdown begins.
And baseball's this week, baseball's this month, finally. Took long enough.
Spring training.
Spring training start back up soon. But we'll talk about baseball a little bit later. We'll go on to NCAA. Just a little bit. Mike put this on the agenda. What happened in college football? Not really college football. What happened with Deion Sanders this last week?
His kids bought him a house in Colorado.
But what I don't understand is his kids' money is probably his money, correct?
I think it's Colorado's owner. Like, Colorado's, like, the person in charge of Colorado.
They bought the house? Or
No, his kids bought the house.
Using
Their
Colorado's money. Okay.
Using the money they got from, like, I don't know if they have NIL deals or whatever.
Yeah, he got image money.
Yeah. They have a lot of money from what they've been doing.
So, according to Google, this might not be accurate, Deion Sanders' net worth is $70 million. And I understand it's the thought that counts, but, like, what's a $5 million house going to do?
It's the thought.
I know, it's the thought that counts.
It's the thought that he'll be coaching Colorado for a long time.
All right, so they're just...
Yes, it's a sentiment of we're making a home here.
They're trying to.
We support you.
All right, yeah, that makes a little bit more sense. Up in the
For
mountains,
sure.
Yeah.
his wife and kids.
Because they weren't buying a house in Jackson State.
It's publicity.
Yeah. No, I understand that.
When I was in college, I went to Florida State.
A fellow RIDA.
I went to Florida State right after Dion graduated. He's got a locker in the FSU locker room, and they've got plexiglass across it, and it's got his number 2 jersey in it, and all his helmet, his gloves, and everything from his last game are entombed in their locker room for all the players to come in and see. And they all know who Prime Time is. I mean, he's as big as anyone in the sports world. But that's a little bit of what I know, what I've experienced of him. But when I was younger, he was on the David Letterman show, the most popular late night show. And David Letterman asked him, he's like, you play for the Atlanta Falcons and you play for the Atlanta Braves. He's like, why do you want to play 2 sports? And Dion said, I want to make as much money as I can while I can. And that said everything.
Yeah, now obviously he does, but he doesn't have to work. His great-grandchildren don't have to work. I mean, it's setting up for his family, and I think he's becoming more of a family man because obviously when he was younger, again, playing 2 sports, it's hard to hang out with family and stuff. But now that he has kids and stuff, like, they don't have to worry about work. Like, they don't have to.
He loves the game.
He does. Oh,
he loves
no doubt
the
about
game,
it.
or he wouldn't be doing
Exactly.
this, because it is taxing. It is a job to do this, and to go into it with such hype that he really was partially responsible for. But then to have it blow up in your face, and you win a big game against someone, and then the very next game you get blown out by USC, and that just says, wow, what's going on here? And it's egg in your face, and he kind of got through that in stride. So maybe this whole house purchase is a little
publicity.
It's a little positive publicity for the Sanders family.
Get Colorado known again before the season starts back up. Maybe they'll win 2 in a row again.
And then lose the rest.
Maybe. It's not an easy game. You got to tend to your net and against everyone you play. Any given Saturday.
Any given Saturday.
Any given Thursday night.
Have you heard about this potential enhancement games? So
I have not heard about that. I saw you put it on the agenda. I have not heard about it.
So they're going to allow players to use anabolic chemicals?
So
what?
basically this billionaire, what's his name? I forgot his name.
So it's not the Olympics.
No.
This is a completely different thing.
No, I have the wrong thing up. So basically this billionaire is going to host this. It's an international games. It's like the Olympics, but you are allowed to take steroids. There will be no steroid testing, and I don't know. So like if you're the best, like if you're Usain Bolt and still don't want to take steroids and beat these people with steroids, go ahead and do it. Prove them wrong. But if you want to have steroids and have a chance to win, like if that Micah at 14 wants to be 200 pounds, 190 of those be muscle, like he has the opportunity to do that and lift 1,400 pounds on deadlift. But it's interesting. I think we've all subconsciously have thought about it, but and it's not official yet. It's meant to take place in December of 2024, but it'll be interesting.
I think if like professional sports players know what's good for them, they won't do it because it might like still be with them when they start playing back in their other sports. And they are not risking getting caught with steroids.
Well, I don't think you'll see professionals
No, you won't.
out there.
You won't.
You'll see amateur athletes
Exactly.
that just want to make a name for themselves
Exactly.
and get their 15 minutes of fame. It's not going to be, you know.
No, you're right. You're 100%
You're not going to see
right.
Mark McGwire out there.
Yeah. Mark McGwire's still like hitting 500-foot home runs, but
what a time. And that reminds me, I gotta bring up a story.
all right.
When I was in Detroit, I was working in physical therapy, and I had a relationship with a great baseball player from yesteryear. His name was Al Kaline, and you may not have heard of him, but
No, yeah, I know who
played
he
for
is.
the Tigers. And he had a career average of 299, and he hit 299 home runs.
Wild.
and that was his average and his home runs, and that sticks with people. And he's in the Hall of Fame. But I talked to him, and he said, we never lifted weights. We just played ball. And in '83, Lance Parrish was a catcher for the Tigers, and Kirk Gibson, as you know, was an outfielder.
Yes.
And those were the first two guys to start lifting weights. And a lot of the coaching staff were against it because they just thought there's no need for that. Just play the game.
Yeah.
Well, there is a need for it.
There is. That's how you get. That's how you throw a ball harder. That's how you hit home runs further.
That's how you hit them further.
Yeah.
But, do anabolic steroids really contribute to home run hitting? I mean, I think a guy can get physically fit enough and enhanced without it.
I think it's for
and have a skill set.
For not lazy people, but people that don't have the determination to
It's a shortcut.
Yeah, exactly. They want the short way out of it.
Yeah, it's a shortcut, but this enhancement games things. I'd like to see let's have a pool of athletes that are not enhanced against a pool of athletes that are, and
Yeah, we'll
play
see.
it out.
Yep. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I don't have anything.
All right, so we're going to do this a little bit differently. We're going to do our Hall of Fame segment before our baseball segment, so you can kind of get out of here. But this is my favorite segment. We do it usually at the end of every show, and it's called Hall of Fame, Yay or Nay. I'm so sorry, that was very loud.
No worries.
That was not adjusted beforehand. I apologize for that. But Jared Goff, so we have his career stats up here. He's played 117 games. He's played for the Rams and Lions, as you know. What else do we have? He was drafted first overall in the 2016 draft, as you know.
From Cal.
Cal Berkeley.
Let's look at some stats here, Micah.
That's game.
He grew up a Joe Montana fan, and that's why he wears the number 16.
I did hear that. All right, so he has complete. What should we look at, Michael?
Completion percentage, interceptions, touchdowns.
So his career completions percentage is 64.7%. Over 30,000 yards, over 180 touchdowns. 82 interceptions. That's a little high, but we can get through that. And yeah, I don't know what else you want to look at here, but this.
He's better in Detroit than he was in Los Angeles. You can look at it
So you think
statistically, win-loss, I don't think he is because he started behind the 8 ball. But his numbers are better in Detroit. The system they run is better, and even Sean McVay admitted, we didn't give Goff enough of a chance. But, when someone dangles Matthew Stafford in front of your face and says, we'll trade you quarterbacks and all you got to do is give us a bunch of draft picks, and you're in that position, you're one Hall of Fame quarterback away from winning the Super Bowl, you're going to do it. And which means there really wasn't anything wrong with Jared Goff. It was just that Stafford was just that appealing.
So do you think that he's in the Hall of Fame, knowing all these stats? We have the rushing and receiving stats up here.
He's got to win a Super Bowl.
All right.
He's got to be in another Super Bowl. He's been in a Super Bowl, and it was the most boring Super Bowl ever. The Patriots shut him down, and I think the final score was like 9-6 or something like that.
13-3 or something.
That's an
like that.
exaggeration. But the Rams' defense was potent. The Patriots' defense was potent. The difference was the GOAT was on the Patriots.
Yeah. So he has been in 3 Pro Bowls, which is nowadays I don't look at Pro Bowls the same as it was 5-10 years ago.
Mike, has Minshew made a Pro Bowl this year?
Yeah, pretty much.
Miles Killebrew has a Pro Bowl.
But
Goff has to win.
So that's what he has to do for you to get his vote.
He has to win a Super Bowl. And, Danny Marino never won a Super Bowl, but Danny Marino, he scratched the surface many times.
Yeah.
And he played in one, and he lost to the 49ers early in his career, Marino, and he never got back. But Goff got there early in his career, and he nearly got there this year, and I think they're going to get there in the next 3 years, if not next year.
All right. So, Michael, Hall of Fame, yay or nay, Jared Goff?
I'm going nay. He's got to play a few more seasons throwing 4,000 yards and get a Super Bowl win.
All right, so here's the deal. He's 29 years old. That's when Andrew Luck retired. And Andrew Luck's obviously not a Hall of Famer. He needs to play till he's at least 32, 33, and needs to appear in at least one more Super Bowl. After that, he has my vote. But yeah, play for a few more years, be in a Super Bowl, and just keep doing what you're doing, and I think he's in the Hall of Fame. So Hall of Fame, yay or nay, Jared Goff, Micah?
Nay.
You're yay?
He's got to win a Super Bowl. He's nay.
Oh, nay, all right. And I'm going to go nay. But in 4 years, or 4 years, I think we can revisit this topic and maybe potentially make a new decision. But yeah, so we're going to go on to our baseball segment, if that's okay with you.
That's great.
You want to kind of take off? Or?
I'm going to step out, and I appreciate the invite.
All right.
Thank you for coming.
I know nothing about baseball, so I'm just going to step out instead of sitting here looking useless.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on. Don't forget your stuff. So we'll go over the baseball stuff here in a second. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Great show.
So yeah, we just did Hall of Fame just a little bit early, and we're just gonna do the MLB segments now. Don't forget your lines. We don't want that. We don't want the lines. All right. Have a good day. All right. So on to MLB segments. We will. Do. Hello. Yeah. Just mute his mic. No. Yeah, I just muted his mic. Oop. All right. So on to the baseball segment. All right. What do we have for baseball, Mike? We have a lot for baseball, don't we?
We have a lot of signings that I kind of wasn't expecting.
So one thing that I am not very pleased about, Adrian Beltre goes into the Hall of Fame as a Rangers. Horrible decision by him.
Did you expect him to go in as a Dodger?
So he was drafted by the Dodgers. The Dodgers are the only team that gave him a chance.
Was he supposed to play at his age? Was he supposed to play at his age?
The only team that gave him a chance were the Dodgers.
I wonder why. I wonder why they were the only team that gave him a chance.
But he does go. He played for what, 4 or 5 teams?
Yeah, he played for a few.
Mariners, Rangers, Dodgers.
There's only one between Rangers and Dodgers, though.
But he does end up going to the Rangers. He wears the hat, whatever. But in my book, he's a Dodger because we're the only one that gave him a chance.
I wonder why.
But anyways, what else do we have? Ross Stripling, old friend alert.
So now they have Alex Wood and Ross Stripling.
So, yeah, I'm not quite sure what's happening here. Oh, there it is. Yes, so Ross Stripling was a former Dodger. I didn't hate him when he was a pitcher. I'm not going to
say they have a good rotation, but they have a solid one for now.
The A's?
Yeah.
You got to rebuild. I mean, you just had the worst season potentially in MLB career.
Alex Wood.
Not career.
Ross Stripling.
MLB season. Oh, can you hand him the water bottle?
Yeah.
Sorry. There we go. But yeah, he was, I don't know, at 6.5 out of 10 with the Dodgers.
Like 9 out of 10 with the Rangers. He was amazing with the Rangers.
But it's good to see him that he's still playing.
Yeah.
I think that with most Dodgers is I like that they still play. I think the Dodgers are a very friendly clubhouse kind of team. What else do we have? Oh, the big thing. The big thing in baseball is Corbin Burnes has officially signed with the team and is unfortunately not the Dodgers. It is the Orioles.
Traded, I believe. Was it traded or was it free agency? I forget.
I don't know. Corbin Burnes.
I believe it was a trade 'cause I believe I saw something.
To Orioles. Traded.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was in the blockbuster trade with Milwaukee Brewers. I don't know what the trade was. You want to look for what the trade was?
Look, scroll up. It was showing it. Nope, down.
That's a video.
Nope, down. There we go.
Here?
The Brewers will receive 2 young players, Joey Ortiz and DL Hall, and draft pick.
DL Hall. But yeah, Orioles obviously won. You know what was very surprising about this to me?
What?
Aaron Boone says this might be a problem.
Oh, wow, actually, a team's better than you, so that's a problem now.
You don't say that as a coach, though.
No, you don't. You're not going to be the best team in your division. I feel like that's kind of obvious.
You think that Boone should say that?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what you were saying. No.
I'm saying that we all know that they're not going to be the best division. There's no need to say it. You just say that this is going to be a problem.
No. But yeah. Boone, I don't know. If I'm a Yankees fan, I'm like, hey, why are you saying that in front of everybody?
It kind of means that you're scared of the Orioles. And why would you admit to being scared of a team that you're in the same division with?
Yeah, and don't publicly say that, even if you
Yeah.
are. So the Dodgers' third baseman is Max Muncy, the Funky Monkey. Speaking of A's, he used to play for the A's, and we need a new third baseman because Max Muncy cannot be on the field. He needs to be as his coach at UCLA. He went to UCLA, right?
I forget.
Or to Max Muncy College.
Yeah, he probably went to UCLA. I can see him in a UCLA jersey. No,
Baylor. It was Baylor. All right, so I'm going to restart that. The third baseman for the Dodgers is Max Muncy. The Baylor head coach said, keep this guy as far away from the ball as possible. 10 years later, maybe a little bit more, the Dodgers put him at third base.
Put him in the hot corner.
He makes so many game-losing errors. It's not even
Because he's slow.
funny. It's not even funny. He's just...
It's like if you put Lance Lynn at third base.
It's not even funny how bad he is. So what I was saying is, hey, bring one of the best clubhouse guys. My favorite player for the Dodgers when he was with the Dodgers, Justin Turner. Bring him back to third base. Have Max Muncy alternate DH, or maybe trade him. I don't care.
Well, where are you going to put him in DH? You got Shohei
alternate,
now.
like alternate, or keep him, or
You're not going to play Shohei?
trade him. That's what I'm getting at. Trade him. Just trade him. Just get rid of him. For Justin Turner, but unfortunately Justin Turner just signed a $13 million 1-year contract with the Blue Jays.
I think this is the last go at everything.
Justin Turner?
Yeah, he'll be retired after this season.
So I think that Shohei will start pitching and hitting for himself potentially. In 2025, Max Muncy will do what I just said, either get traded or alternate DH or do whatever. And the Dodgers will sign Justin Turner to be their third baseman. That sound like a plan, Dodgers?
It sounds like
Andrew Freeman, handshake.
What's Turner's age? Let's look at his age.
How old is Justin Turner?
And then add a season because of this season. Yep, Justin Turner. Yep, 39.
So 41?
Yeah, so it'll be 40. Do you want a 40-year-old third baseman? Do you really want a 40-year-old third baseman?
It's not that I want a 40-year-old third baseman. I want a good third baseman. I don't care about his age.
No third baseman that's 40 is going to be good.
Justin Turner.
He played DH last season. He hasn't played third base in a whole season.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. But we need to figure out a way
He's
for Muncy.
too old to be playing.
We need to figure out a way for Muncy not to be the third baseman.
Cut him. Bring up Cody Hosey.
Yeah, bring up Cody Hosey. Why don't you just do that?
Cut him.
Wait, is it Cody Hosey? Wait.
I believe he's in AAA. Okay.
Mike, you talk about that.
Yeah, you have Cody Hosey, who's pretty good in the minors, and you're not bringing him up because you have Max Muncy stopping you. How are you going to get stopped by a guy who's the same size as Lance Lynn? He's third base.
I thought he was a pitcher for some reason. No, he is a third baseman. For some reason.
So he's in Double-A.
He is in Double-A. Bring him up though. Like anybody's better than
Bring up your
Mike.
AAA guy.
Mike is better than Max Muncy defensively,
And I'm a lefty.
and he's lefty. Big thing that has happened. Jorge Polanco goes to the Mariners from the Twins.
I don't like this at all. The AL West is becoming competitive with the Rangers, Astros, Mariners, and if the Angels do something, then they'll be in that too. The only bad team in that is really the A's and maybe the Angels.
Yeah, it doesn't really affect me so much, if that makes sense.
I think the top 3 teams that could win the World Series, 3 out of the top 5 teams that can win the World Series, or at least the AL, are in the AL West.
All right. Yeah. Right-handed pitcher Carlos Carrasco
Yeah, Cookie. Back to the Guardians.
is back for a minor league deal.
Yeah.
He'll play in spring training. He probably won't play in the majors. If it is, probably less than 60 games.
He was in the Francisco Lindor trade, and I feel like he just wanted to go back to Cleveland. He never was anything in New York.
He was never anything.
Yeah. Well, he was good on the Indians. He was actually pretty good.
All right, 10 years ago.
Like 5.
All right, not a long time ago. And then Hector Neris, is that how you pronounce it?
I think so.
$9 million for 1 year with the Cubs.
I liked Neris, and we lost Phil Maton to the Rays. We're losing our whole bullpen.
Mike is talking about the Astros as we.
Yeah. I know we got,
The Astros.
yeah. You say we all the time.
Okay, go.
I think we got Josh Hader, but we're losing Brandon Brady for a few games. Now we're losing Maton and Neris. It's not going to be a good bullpen season.
Yeah, Micah doesn't think the Astros bullpen is going to be very good this season at all, and neither do I.
Presley maybe for bring it Abreu 6-7, Presley 8 or 9. But we don't have a ton of guys now.
I have a funny story to tell at this one. So, Adam Frazier to Royals for $4.5 million for 1 year. I don't know why he's still being paid. He's not that good. He has like a career WAR of 13. He's been playing for like 8 seasons. Not very good. And I don't know why he's still playing. Adam Frazier.
You said he had a career
WAR
average of 13.
Career WAR of 13. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this? He goes to the Royals, the worst team. Them and the A's are the worst team.
It wasn't bad on the Pirates, but now the Royals, they've signed a bunch of guys now. They want to make a move that they know they can't make.
Yeah. And you want to hear a funny story. So his brother, Todd Frazier.
Yeah, it was very good.
Who was very good, retired now, I believe, right?
Yeah.
He came down to our hometown. There's a Jackie Robinson training complex, whatever. They were playing a spring training game, or they were playing something, and like there's a huge group of like baseball players when we were probably 6 to 10 years old. I forget.
Oh, this was in St. Lucie.
No, this wasn't. And every Jackie Robinson day, they play a game in spring training down here in Vero, or down in Dodgertown, whatever you want to call it. And Todd Frazier was there signing autographs for all these kids, whatever. Somebody couldn't get, I think I have a sign ball somewhere. Somebody couldn't get a signature from him. So they say, hey, they say to their friend, again, these are 8-year-olds, hey, give me your hat. I'm going to write his signature on my hat. So he like traces it perfectly. I swear you could not tell the difference. If you mix the hats up, you could not tell the difference. He said, he like runs over to his mom, like, I got it signed by Todd Frazier. And then like 30 minutes later, he comes over to us. He's like, yeah, no, I didn't get it signed by Todd Frazier. I wrote it. I just think that's hilarious. Obviously not worth anything, but to not even know the difference. But
I remember him coming to St. Lucie when he was injured with the Mets. That's the only thing I remember him being.
No, it was definitely down here.
Yeah, I don't remember any of that happening in St. Lucie, so I believe you.
What else? Nationals got new road jerseys.
They got new everything uniforms, I believe.
Oh.
They got the patch. I kind of like them, but I kind of don't at the same time. They're going away from the Walgreens logo and more like a W with like a tower kind of thing.
Yes. What I thought of their gray road jerseys is it looks like a high school baseball jersey.
Well, everything with the Walgreens logo looks like a high school.
It doesn't have the Walgreens logo.
Yeah, not anymore. That's new uniforms.
Talk about something.
Probably. So the new uniforms, they came out with like everything pretty much. They have one that says Nationals. They have one like a W. I think it's the Capitol building.
So the one that we're going to pop up on the screen if we make a TikTok out of it does have a patch on the side with their actual logo, but their front is just like, I don't know, high school themed letters, like a high school font. It just says Washington with the number.
Well, when you're as good as a high school team, that's what you get.
Yep, guess so. But, yeah.
Look at the other uniforms. I like the other
I think
uniforms.
that's the only uniforms.
No, they got a new one with the one to the left of that. The W. Yeah, that one.
This one?
Yeah.
Isn't that their City Connect?
No, they got rid of their City Connects.
Oh, okay.
They're removing their City Connects.
It's the Congress building with the W and 2 stars.
I kind of like that logo. That should be their actual logo.
I don't think they would ever do that just because of the 2 stars on the side.
Yeah.
But what I've been saying, and I'll say this again, and I will keep saying this until the day I die.
The
Yes,
DC
yes.
Americans.
If you ever want a new team name, come to me. And if you're in DC, if your team's located in DC,
if you want a playoff bracket, don't
Micah,
go to
let
him,
me
though.
talk. Let me talk. If your team is in DC and you want to rename your team, I got the perfect name. It's called the DC Americans. There's the Nationals. There's the what are some other
Capitals.
Capitals. Like there's all these teams.
Commanders.
No, not Commanders.
That's in DC.
No, I'm saying like the Capitals, the Nationals. Like you see how they're all like American based. The DC Americans, and have the logo be like the Uncle Sam guy, and it'll be amazing.
You gotta have Uncle Sam be a sports logo.
Yeah, yes. But is that it? That's all I got.
Yeah.
All right, we already did Hall of Fame yay or nay when Scott was here. But yeah, thank you guys for watching the 32nd episode of the HatTrick Sports Podcast. Make sure to check out our TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Go to shophattricksports.com for the most comfortable apparel you will ever wear. And you can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts, including YouTube for visuals. And we'll see you guys Saturday next week. We're going to film it one day before the Super Bowl, 7 days away. All right, see you guys later.